Spicy foods are very common throughout human culture today. Most of us have had something either very spicy or just a little spicy. Today we're going to learn about spiciness as a taste, along with some other very interesting facts regarding spicy foods. So what makes spicy foods spicy? Well, we can credit a really cool compound called capsaicin. Capsaicin is the active compound in pepper plants. It's also a part of a larger family called the capsaicinoid family. And that's just a general term for a bunch of different molecules that are like capsaicin that are present in pepper plants. Spiciness is measured in terms of what's called Scoville units. Scoville unit is a unit used to measure the pain that's experienced when we consume spicy foods. For reference, bell peppers have 0 on the Scoville scale. They're not spicy at all, while jalapenos are between 2,500 and 8,000 Scoville units. If you've had a jalapeno, you know that some are a lot less spicy than others. And then there's peppers that are, that have 100,000 or 1,000,000 Scoville units, which are incredibly spicy. So what is the natural function of capsaicin? Well, capsaicin's first produced in pepper plants, like I said, in these things called capsaicin glands. Those ribs that you've seen when you open up peppers, that's where the capsaicin is. That's the highest concentration of it. And it functions as a chemical irritant for mammals and other pests. Those mammals include us, and when we consume these chemicals, they produce this familiar feeling of pain, heat, and burning. We sense this pain, heat, and burning sensation because we have receptors in our bodies. The specific one is called TRPV1. I'm not going to give you the long name because it's pretty long, but TRPV1 does a couple things. It detects what's called noxious stimuli. A noxious stimuli is anything, basically think of any bad stimuli, any bad chemical or something that comes in our environment that we need to know is bad so that we can take a response. It's basically a stimuli that causes us to understand that, oh, we're in danger, something's going on. So TRPV1 allows us to detect those because evolutionarily to human beings, spicy food might be a little dangerous. Your brain's putting out these warning signs, even though it's not going to kill you. It also allows us to sense the spiciness in general that capsaicin produces. The really interesting thing that I like about this receptor is that it's a vanilloid receptor, and that allows us to process the taste of vanilla. And vanilloid receptors do a whole bunch of other things. It's not just vanilla involved, but I thought that was very interesting. Another interesting piece is that when pepper plants die and they decompose and their seeds go everywhere, birds will pick them up and eat them or drop them on the ground somewhere, and then the pepper will grow again and restart its life cycle. Birds can do this because they don't have TRPV1. Birds don't have it, so they don't even taste spice or have that heat that we experience, which is why they can do what they do. How does this affect you, right? How does this affect all of us? Well, like I said before, capsaicin produces a strong sensation of pain. But if you've ever eaten something really spicy, you'll notice very quickly that you might start to salivate a little bit. You might start sweating. You might produce a lot of mucus in your nose, and your nose gets a little runny, and some tears fall down your face because of the spice. And that's just the body's natural response to this powerful stimuli that is spiciness. But on the flip side, if you have something very spicy, depending on what it is, you'll start to feel this euphoria, these feelings of pleasure, this lifted mood, and you might even want to eat more of that spicy thing. Well, that's because when we consume spicy foods, to fight off the inflammation and the pain, our body creates these things called endorphins. And endorphins are basically natural opioids. And this is an opioid right here, basic structure for an opioid. And it's just a natural painkiller. So when you consume something spicy, it's going to hurt, but it also might feel good. It's a very, very interesting compound, how it affects the human body. Capsaicin is also present in pharmaceutical compounds as a natural painkiller. If you have a small amount of capsaicin in a patch, like this one right here, or a cream of some kind, you put it on the skin and it relieves pain from arthritis, just overall muscle pain, and other types of irritation, because capsaicin reduces the effect of something called substance P. And substance P allows us to regulate pain and the feeling of pain. So when capsaicin is released into our body through those patches and those creams, the sensation of pain in that area goes down, which reduces inflammation and at least deals with the situation as effective as it can deal with it. Capsaicin is one of the many naturally occurring compounds that are used as medicine. This thing right here I wanted to talk about briefly. It's called willow bark, and I might do a video. Willow bark is a plant that's turned into a painkiller. Its active ingredient is what aspirin was based off of. So this is just a cool example of the many different kinds of naturally occurring compounds that are used as medicines, or medicines are based off of them. And capsaicin is still being studied. It's a very, very interesting compound. Pepper spray is used throughout most of the world. It is what's called oleoresin capsicum. It's an oil taken from the pepper plant, and this specific compound is a capsaicinoid. Right, earlier I spoke about how capsaicin was a part of that bigger family of capsaicinoids. Oleoresin capsicum is a part of that family. When you get pepper sprayed, you feel an intense burning. Your skin gets flushed. If you breathe it in, it affects your lungs. You will be crying like crazy. Your nose will be running. It's pretty painful and a pretty unpleasant experience. You can also have temporary blindness if it gets in your eyes. It's that irritating. And again, this TRPV1 receptor comes into play. While eating a jalapeno might not be dangerous, the same molecule in a more concentrated form getting your eyes is dangerous, and you could lose your eyes. So this receptor is there for that very reason, either on a small scale or a big scale. If you ever get burned by capsaicin or any capsaicinoid family member, there's a couple things you can do. If you get pepper sprayed, if you see people who get pepper sprayed, they instantly will wash maybe their eyes out with water or maybe milk. Another effective way of treating a burn from this capsaicinoid family-like compound is you coat the affected area in an oily substance like vegetable oil or Vaseline, because capsaicin loves fat and oil. There's this adage in chemistry that like dissolves like. If you look at capsaicin, this is capsaicin, it has this string of carbons. These are carbons, these little pieces, along with these. So when you have a molecule that has a long string of carbons, from our perspective, that's what oil is, that's what fat is. And because this capsaicin has this long stream of carbons, and vegetable oil, just oils in general, have the same thing, when they come together and hang out, they just stick around each other. So when you rub, let's say, your eye or an affected area with some oil, that oil will just grab onto and pick up that capsaicin, and when you flush it out, the capsaicin is going to go with the oil. I thought that was a really interesting thing. Most people have heard that if you consume something spicy, like spicy wings or something like that, you might want to have a glass of milk with you or some kind of dairy. It's because dairy has this protein called casein. Casein is a protein that just breaks down capsaicin, and when it breaks it down, it ceases to bind to those receptors, thus causing a very painful burning sensation. In summary, we talked about capsaicin, it being the active ingredient in pepper plants, how spice is measured in terms of Scoville units, and that spice is perceived as by human beings and other mammals through this receptor TRPV1 that is a capsaicin and a vanilloid receptor. And when we do feel that spice, that pain, our body also produces endorphins, those natural opioids that fight off that pain. Capsaicin is also used as a medicine targeting substance P. Right? It's a gel, a patch that reduces pain by targeting substance P and reducing its effect on the body. Thank you so much. I appreciate you watching and listening. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I'll be coming back with another video soon. Thank you, and have a great day.